Hey guys, it's Coach KJ here, and I'm here with Yada, Shannon Lipscomb. And we met on Saturday at an event called Beyond the Jersey, honoring her grandson. And she emailed me this morning. She's like, I looked at your website, and she said, wait a minute. In 2020, I had an aneurysm. I said, well, look, we got to talk. I said, we got to talk, we got to talk, we got to talk. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Shannon, and then we're going to talk about this scenario. The reason why I want to talk about it is because 1 in 50 persons are walking around today with an unruptured aneurysm. There are approximately 6.7 million persons with unruptured aneurysms. Basically, every 18 minutes, someone's brain aneurysm ruptures. 15% of people will actually die on their way to the hospital with a brain aneurysm rupture. And then also there is a 50% higher mortality rate for African Americans who have an aneurysm. So just a little about Shannon. She is a visible activist, a proud grandma. She is from the Bronx, New York, but she spent the majority of her life, a lot of her time in Rhode Island. Back in 2005, she decided, she wanted to find a new environment for her family, and she moved to North Carolina from once again Rhode Island. I always wanted to go to Rhode Island because they have the jazz festival there.
It's beautiful there in spring and fall. It's very beautiful.
Well, can you move back real quick so I can stay with you?
I have other families there, so they'll welcome you with open arms.
Okay. All right, cousin. So she moved from Rhode Island to Charlotte. Now, after her move here, she moved here in 2005. She moved here because she was going to be a grandma. She's all excited, etc. She wanted her grandson eventually came down, her daughter, her son came down. But 3 years ago in 2020, while at home alone, she had an aneurysm rupture. Am I correct?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about what happened on that day.
I got up, had my coffee as usual. At the time I was smoking and cigarettes and the other medicinals. But just to relax me, to calm me and all the rest of that. At home by myself. I was an online entrepreneur. Um, and I was on my laptop um, taking online classes for Forex trading.
For what?
And Forex trading, like Wall Street, Forex trading with the buying and selling of currency.
Oh, girl, let's go make some money. Keep going.
Exactly. So that was just, one of my endeavors I was doing that morning. And I was laying across my bed and everything. And I sat up, take a couple of toes, smoke one cigarette, duck both of them out. And when I sat up, I felt it in the back. I felt like a pop, and I felt something coming out. And I went to stand up. I went to stand up on the side of my bed, and I was sliding down the wall because I didn't understand what was happening. And I was like, Shaneen, I literally said out loud, I said, Shaneen, what's wrong with you with your silly self? And so I braced myself. I, kind of pushed my back against the wall and kind of split up. But the next thing I know, I hit the floor. I had a king size bed, and I like pillows. Had my telephone on my laptop, my telephone. And um, as I was on the floor, the phone rang. My phone rang, and I began to have anxiety. I began to tense up, and the phone stopped ringing. And so like I said, I didn't know what was happening to me. So I tried to get up again, and I fell again, but this time I hit my head on the corner of my table, um, by my bed, by nightstand, and it was like I laid there. I must have blacked out, saw something, but when I opened my eyes, I was laying on the side of my bed on the floor, and I just heard the Holy Spirit say, "You can get up," and I almost like tensed up, and he said, don't do that, relax." So I completely relaxed my whole body, and like I said, I had pillows and blankets, and you know, so it was kind of cool. And my laptop and different things on my notebooks and stuff. And because I was getting it in for this forex, I was gonna get my family out of the impoverished situation that we was in. And the Holy Spirit said, take the corner of the sheet and pull yourself up. So I went to pull it fast. He said, He said, pull it slow and pull yourself up.
Mm.
So with specific instructions, I did just that. And I flopped on the bed, on the end of my bed. He said, now pick up your phone. And at that time, my left side was weakening quicker than my right. But I took the phone and put it in my left hand, held it, and I unlocked my phone because you have you can touch it, you
Mhm.
know. And I hurried up and swiped up and did my passcode, and I have pictures. So I just tapped my oldest daughter picture who lived right directly across the street.
Mm.
And I called her, and she said, "Hey, Ma," and because she's always upbeat and happy most of the time. And all I could get out was, mm, mm. And she said, "Mom," and I just, with urgency. And she said, "Mom," and I did it one more time, and I just fell back on the bed. And next thing I know, she was coming up with one of her friends, who was a registered nurse, and they was talking. She said, "Sit her up," and so she came in. She had the key, house key. I had a upstairs, downstairs. So she hopped the stairs. She, her and her friend, they came out. She said, "Sit her up." And she was asking me questions, your name, where you at, and different things like that. And she
Were
told
you
my
able to
daughter,
answer the questions?
no, I couldn't talk. I couldn't talk. And the only thing that when she was talking to me, I was like, I, I was talking, trying to remember God's name.
Mm.
I wanted to talk to him. And it was a peace on the inside, but I was just looking at her. And she had the most beautifulest brown eyes that I've ever seen. And she just kept looking at me, and I just kept looking at her.
Mm.
It as if it was a spiritual lifeline to me. And um, the ambulance came, the medic came, and the professional help was not right with them. They were
Say that again.
the professional help wasn't right.
What do you mean?
They they was unprofessional,
Oh, okay,
except
okay, okay.
except for one lady. There was two ladies and one guy, and um, they was
Yeah,
taking
that's
my
why Guy had you not talk because you may have told her about herself. Guy said, you can't talk right now, Shaneen. We don't know what might happen.
because I did become angry, because I said you should never judge nobody if you don't know the whole story. And they came in, and they was taking my vitals. They kept me sitting up. They didn't know what was going on with me, and they kept putting Narcan up my nose. And because I guess I kept, collapsing and going out. And that's all they knew how to do. But the one that was really taking care of me, she was so scared. I could see it all over her face, all in her eyes, everything. There was a guy there. He walking around with his hands in his pocket, and he was back and forth walking upstairs in my house, chuckling, talking about, "I seen this all before. It's drugs. It's drugs." And he literally was saying that, and I kept looking at him. And my daughter, she was mad, but she was upset because what's happening to me. And he just kept saying it. And the other young lady, she didn't say nothing, but them two was like kind of like the days ago. Um, Long story short, we got to the no, when we got outside, I had nothing but my slip on and my underclothes, except for my bra. And it was cool, like I said, and the sheet was blowing. So the sheet had blew up. And my daughter said, cover her up. So the medic said, no, she needs this so she can stay woke. She said, yeah, but you can cover her up. She can feel that air. And so my daughter kind of pulled the sheet down. And the other young lady who was driving, um, by this time um my husband had came and my son had came.
So I just want to ask something really quick. So you're still hearing and seeing everything. You just can't talk.
I just can't talk. I couldn't move my left side. It was like my body was going, from my left side first, um, and then my right, and then it was like, I
What are
couldn't.
you thinking? What are you feeling as your body is going and all this banter is going on around? I mean, like, how, what do you want to communicate? What are you trying to tell them? What, I mean, are you scared or do you think it's your life? I mean, what do you think is going on?
I thought I was leaving, and at that point, so much was going on that I wanted to go. I
Tired?
had a peace.
Were you tired?
I had a I was tired. I was real tired. I was tired spiritually, mentally, emotionally, financially. I was just tired. And
Were
at
you,
one
hold
point
on,
when I closed my eyes,
just a quick question. Were you tired before the aneurysm pop or did you just become tired after dealing with them?
before and after, because I was tired before, like I said, with all of those things that was happening. But I got tired because I said, Lord, don't nobody have no common sense anymore. Everybody just had. As I was looking at it, it was just chaotic, chaotic, like a chaotic fit to me. And I was like, where's the compassion? Because here is this man in my house. He don't know me. He don't know my background. But because you're in a black neighborhood, you labeled me. And you said you seen this all before. You seen what all before? You know, I
I can't hear you. You press mute. Now you're gone. You're mute and you're gone. So
wait a minute.
I hear what you're saying about the fatigue of trying to explain yourself, validate yourself, be heard during the process. When do you think you were actually heard, or what do you think helped them to hear you, or what do you think made the difference in this process?
Um,
I can't hear you.
I
You're very, very
I
soft. You're
see.
very low.
I Can you hear me?
You're very, very low though.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Barely. Like you're gonna have to speak loud. I can barely hear you. Are you talking now?
I'm outside. Can you hear me?
Yes, but you're very soft. I can hear you, but you're very soft.
Okay. Um, Miss
When
Loretta
when do
said
you
my
think they heard you?
um I'm on a good interview. Um um okay. At the hospital uh is when everything, can you hear me?
I can hear you better.
Okay. At the hospital um is when the Lord started letting people hear me. I, like I said, I was completely out. Well, um in the hospital, I mean in the ambulance, the the lady, the medic, yeah, I'm lost for words. The medic, she, like I said, she was scared, but the driver, she didn't turn the sirens on. She didn't. She wasn't driving fast. She was like, there was a lot of traffic, but she had no urgency. So because my son was in the vehicle with us and in the front with the driver, he told her a few choice words, which made her turn that siren on and move the traffic out the way. While I'm in the back, they kept putting, they at least used maybe 4 Norcans on me. Can you hear me?
It's very soft.
They like, I don't know. They used like 4 Norcans on me. Every time I went out, she would put one up my nose. When we got to the hospital, the emergency room, I was going out again, but this time I started gagging. I guess it was too. I don't know. She put it up my nose, and there was this black doctor there, and um, he turned around so upset. Um, I was barely seeing who was around me. They was putting me on the table, and when I went out, he put it up. She put it up my nose, and I started gagging. And he said, "Take it out her nose. Don't you see she's gagging like that?" And he came over to the table and he picked me up like a baby and finished put me on the bed. And from that, I don't know, I was out. I had to have surgery with the tubes and all the rest of that because I was bleeding um, from my
Wow.
brain. And when I
So
woke up,
go ahead.
then when I woke up, I was in the ICU.
So, I look, I know I'm not your elder, but I'm gonna lecture you for a second. There are some bad things with regards to aneurysms. Like smoking actually, uh, smoking actually, please forgive me, I'm looking for the word right now. I know what I'm thinking. Oh, smoking it spikes your blood pressure. So since it spikes your blood pressure, it actually weakens the arterial walls, so that way it can actually cause a rupture. Alcohol causes a
Right,
rupture. Stress.
right.
So you got stress, alcohol, smoking, and please tell me you weren't eating fatty foods, because fatty foods do it too.
Oh yeah, all of it. I was doing all the bad things, all
You
of it. I just
you thought you were Michael
didn't
Jackson
like.
for a moment, getting ready to sing "I'm Bad," huh? Talking about I'm bad, I'm bad.
No, I was doing bad things. But I was like, I don't know. We as a black people, we pray, but we're not taught on the right things to do. And I'm just gonna make it plain. I'm a strong believer in God. I'm a strong believer in prayer. I'm a strong believer in having a a personal relationship with Him. But sometimes we don't sit and listen to be taught too. So it
Mm,
was twofold with me. And me having a background full of traumas, betrayals, and different things, it was like I always just kept moving the best way I knew how. And I kept praying, you know. I didn't, not saying I went to church every Sunday, because I left the church, but I never left God. Everybody else call it backsliding, but I didn't slide back. I just kept moving forward the best way I knew how.
So
But
you were
then,
surviving, not thriving. Like you were
right,
you were
right,
coasting, but you weren't like, so there was, so one of the things I talk about, I'm a life coach, is that I talk to people about is like finding depth. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
there's a difference between
yeah,
just doing to get by, check the box, whatever, whatever, and having actual
right,
depth. Do you think that
right.
there was a point when you started to find that depth after all? So what, wait, let me ask them. So after the aneurysm, what did that teach you? What did you say I'm no longer going to do? Or what did you say I'm going to change?
I immediately stopped smoking. I
Okay.
did because I used
I can
to
barely hear you. Can you
all
talk a
my
little
life.
louder?
I could I bailed in times past. I did quit cold turkey, no patches and pills and potions and all the rest of that stuff. I quit like maybe 4 or 5 times cold turkey. But then the stress, the environment, people, what I'm saying, learned behavior. You know what I'm saying? Still praying, God take this away from me, blah, 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 but just the learned behavior. So after the aneurysm, I, I just gave everything up. Um, Once in a while, I would drink wine, no more hard liquor, or drinking. But once in a while, I would drink my wine. And last year, around my birthday, the Lord said I had a big bottle of wine, and He said, "Pour it out." And I said, "Lord," I was like, "It's only a little bit left." I said, "Can I give it away?" And He was like, "Pour it out." And so I stood in my kitchen by myself and I poured the rest out, and that's the last time I had any wine or alcoholic beverages. And my last time, I'll be transparent, my last time of smoking weed was the last week of January. I had went to a church, and it was like all the desires and everything was gone, you know. So I don't do nothing no more, but um I run my business the best way I know how. I didn't know I knew how to paint, but I found that out, discovered that in 2021.
Wait, you paint?
Um,
You paint?
yeah, I paint. I learned how to. God given talents and gifts came out, so I make little crafts and stuff, and I make T-shirts. So God just had it where when my nerves get shaky on the inside and on the outside I look fine, I'll begin doing my crafts or t-shirts or, you know, different things to relax me or whatever. I just don't sit and try to ponder on, you know, what's going on. I just execute something else and channel it somewhere else. So yeah,
So
that's
Shaneen, let me ask you this. How much of a role, and you can give both of them their accolades right now, or pump them up right now. Man, I wish I'd done this before Mother's Day. You could have gotten a bigger gift. But what, how important do you think it is to have that type of support right there with you in your house? Like, meaning having a spouse there so that when things get uptight, you can call on him or whatever, having your daughter nearby. How important is that support team?
it's very important to a certain extent because everybody needs to learn about different things going on in the family and with that individual person. You know, I had to fight depression. You know, my family didn't know that. My children didn't know that. I was a manic depressant, and I fought out of that. And since this has came about, you guys, this last month, what I had to deal with a situation. Depression is trying to come back, but I get up and I go out, you know, and um, if I have to cry it out, scream it out, I get by myself, I cry it out, I scream it out. But now I'll tell somebody I'm having a rough day, you know what I'm saying? Or, I'll text somebody, hey, how are you doing? You know what I'm saying? And it opens up a conversation, you know. So I am expressing and reaching out myself to let my own self know you're not alone, So that's where it's very important. It's very important.
Self-awareness, understanding what you need. And it's so funny, a lot of times we're brought up making sure that everyone around us is okay. Do you know what I mean? Building up the house, cleaning the house until we forget about ourselves. So Shannon, I want to say thank you so much for everything you shared about aneurysms. Like I said, as an aneurysm survivor, I'm very passionate about spreading the word because a lot of people don't know until, the person is 6 feet under. And a lot of people don't stop and take those pauses like you're talking about, those stops, those breaks. Hey, look, you know what? It's not that I'm having like a nervous breakdown, but what I'm saying is right now, I'm not feeling it. Do you know what I mean? You're giving me too much to take in. So let me just chill for a second. Let me do me, and then we'll come back and regroup. It doesn't mean I'm stopping. It doesn't mean I'm quitting. It means I'm pausing
Right.
because I'm aware of what I need to make sure that what I give you is the best of me.
Yes.
So you are fire. You are fire. And she's an amazing advocate. So she's an artist, she's an advocate, she's all these things. And guys, you're going to hear a little bit more about it in the next video. I apologize that the volume is a little low, but we get ready. Turn up, turn up, turn up. So you can hear everything that Shannon's about to say, because she has a powerful word for you, for families. What she said just now. Hey, moms, dads, young adults, seniors, please, please, please look into this and take care of yourself. Make sure you start to understand the warning signs and that you are aware of what you need to cope, to move forward, and to thrive.
Right. And one
That do okay?
correction. One correction is Shaneen, like Janine, but it's Shaneen.
Shani,
Shaneen.
Shaneen,
Yes.
Sh, Shaneen,
Yes.
Shaneen.
Yes.
So thank you for everything, Shaneen.
Yes. My
Anything,
pleasure.
anything you like to add? I'm gonna write that down, Shaneen, to make sure I get it right the next time.
Shaneen.
Oh, I have the correct spelling, but I said sha, not sha, like a u,
And
like
Neen.
push it up, raise the roof, up, sha, sha.
I
Um,
love this woman right here.
thank you. I love you too. I love you too. Because we're distant relatives in a way, kind of through the play
Right.
route.
Right. Right. Right.
Wait, well, anyway,
But
Shanique, okay.
one thing I would like to say is that listen to your body. Listen to if you're tired and you're exerted, reach out. You never know who will be there for you. Even if you have to go to counseling, therapy, go exercise, take up a hobby, take up a craft, take up a walk, feel the sun on your skin, anything to get your nervous system back intact so you can be a better you. So I would say that. I will say that.
I love it. I love it. Tell you guys she's fire. So anyway, thank you, Shaneen. And we're gonna talk in a few minutes.
Okay.
All right. Let's see, how do I do this?